Come with me to meal prep 2 quiches for the week. For one of the quiches, I'm going to use Jimmy Dean's original sausage. Now I've already prepped the pan with some Pam, and I've also preheated the oven at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. Now here I'm going to take my spatula and I'm going to break up the sausage into as many pieces as I can, as small as I can. After it's all done broken up, I like to throw in a little bit of onion powder as it's good for the heart. Stir it up, and I like to do this when the meat hasn't been fully cooked yet, so it kind of seeps in. Now that the meat's fully cooked, I'm going to throw in a little bit of pepper. That way it kind of sticks but also sloshes off at the same time. I believe that's it, and we're going to set the meat aside for now. Grab your pans, and of course, grab your pan spray. I use this to coat my pans so my pie crust doesn't stick and it comes out easily after cutting out a slice. Now, I like to use the Great Value pie crust, the 9-inch one. You can make your own, which I will possibly do another video on how to make your own. Now, this pack comes with 2, and this first one gave me a little bit of a problem. It did tear because I was trying to unwrap it too quickly, so take your time unrolling your dough. Now my pie pan is a little bit smaller than the cheesecake pie pan, so I do fold my dough over and I make sure there's no bubbles underneath my dough as well. And I just press it into the rim. As you can see on the cheesecake pan, there's some ridges there. That glass bowl has the same kind of ridges, just different placement. All it is. Once you have the pie crust secured, then you can start adding in your ingredients. For my mom's quiche, I'm using her sausage that she asked me to cook, and I'm using this same spatula I cooked with because I do not want all that juice in the quiche itself, as the egg mixture will be going in on top of it. As you can see, I made sure hers was fully filled in the bottom and flattened out. Next, I'm going to add in some green onions. I got the chopped version from Walmart again. I typically like to get the fresh bunches and cut up myself, but in this case, because I'm making 2, I wanted to make sure there was going to be plenty for both of us. Now, I like to use the green onion just because it is good for digestion, and it does help a lot if you have tummy issues and needing foods that can help with digestion. And of course, gotta have the parsley. This is also good for digestion, and I like to add it in both quiches. I have found that I really like the green onions and parsley with my quiche. Now, I do break them up and make sure I try to keep the stems out because those stems can get in there. So I do break them up in as many pieces as I can, but not like too tiny, but enough to make sure I have a good coverage in both pans. For this next part, I'm only going to be adding pepper jack cheese to my quiche and not my mom's. She doesn't care for cheese in her quiche, but for me, who can't have spicy foods because of my stomach issues, I absolutely love being able to have some pepper jack in my quiche. On to the next part. This is where we're going to add a cup of milk, 5 eggs, all together. Just going to scooch these off to the side for the moment. We're going to scramble these eggs up with my pretty little whisk here. And of course some salt and pepper too. Alright, I've got my measuring cup full of 2 cups of milk, but we're only going to use 1 cup in this bowl. Alright, now that it's all blended, we are going to gently pour this mixture into our first pie pan. We don't want the ingredients to just go sidewall, so gently pour it in over your ingredients and just go around in like a swirly circle slowly. And we are going to repeat the same egg process over with our second quiche. And here is the second quiche. Again, gently pour over your mixture, do a swirl motion, and just slowly pour over so your stuff doesn't get sidewalled. Now that we've completed our quiche mixtures, we are going to place them in the oven for 15 minutes at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And after 15 minutes, we're going to reset the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, and we're going to bake for 40 minutes. And then afterwards, they will be ready. And voila! Here is quiche number 1 and quiche number 2. Aren't they just beautiful? Show me how yours turned out.